Life ebbs and flows, and as a reformed yo-yo dieter of 30 years, I have had plenty of ebbs and flows myself. Of course, my most recent flows are my favorite since they helped me lose 40 pounds. And this came at a time when I couldn't figure out why my scale just kept going up. And when I talk about the flows, that's fancy speak for a few quick daily habits that I established to lose those 40 pounds. But we'll talk about those in a minute. First, let's talk about how I got here. When I first got into the dieting game, I was particularly vulnerable to the magazine diets of the 90s since I worked as a grocery store cashier. Each of these miracle diets promised quick weight loss as long as you followed their one magic rule. Be it cut carbs, slash fat, or drink fat-burning tea, some thin woman was always on the cover bragging about how she lost 5 pant sizes with one simple trick. And so I did whatever the random thin woman told me, and I always lost some weight, only to gain back double within a month or two. But magazine miracle diets were just the minor league. My yo-yo dieting career hit the big time when I started spending real money on plans like Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, and LA Weight Loss. There was this one time I even spent $500 on a diet coach who told me to eat half of a lean cuisine for dinner. I wish I was joking. And all of these diets taught me the same thing: to restrict the foods I love for as long as I could grin and bear it before my diet crashed and burned. And then I had no choice but to move on to the next miracle quick fix. Want to know what none of these diets taught me that actually works? Simple lifestyle changes that not only help you lose weight, but the same habits that also help you maintain everything you lose. Right, because that's too long term for the $76 billion weight loss industry that preys on women's desperation to get thin. Plus, when you implement these habits that really work, you have to have something that 95% of dieters don't: patience. Strange how that 95% number comes up again when we look at how many dieters don't keep off what they lose past a few months. After recently regaining nearly 50 pounds, I look back at the habits that helped me finally lose weight, even after I thought I was screwed because nothing else was working for my 40-year-old self. And the best part about these habits is they don't even take up a lot of time, unlike most new diet plans where you have to completely change your life in order to make the diet work. In fact, most of the habits that really change the weight loss game for me take less than a minute. So let's talk about the best 5 one-minute habits I follow that you can easily add to your weight loss routine so you finally get the results you want. Back in 2019, the start of my weight regain, my life became a lot more sedentary. My small and demanding kids who constantly needed another snack or left a new mess to clean were becoming more independent, which meant I was moving less. They also didn't love long walks to the park in the 100-degree heat as much as I did, so my movement took a nosedive. But I was following keto, so no big deal, right? Yeah, right. Tell that to my ever-expanding waistline and my scale that just wouldn't quit going up. Well, at least until I made movement a cornerstone of my weight loss routine. And that brings us to the first one-minute habit that helped me overcome a scale that wouldn't quit. And this is a habit that will set you up for a great start to your day. One of the best ways you can make sure that you start your day with a healthy habit like getting more movement is to set your workout clothes out the night before. That way, your clothes are staring at you in the face first thing, and you don't conveniently forget about your commitment to move more, since more movement is an important part of the fat loss equation. Since many experts recommend taking 8 to 10,000 steps per day for an effective fat loss plan, getting some of those steps out of the way first thing is a great way to start your day. And conveniently, that first 1-minute habit sets you up for the second 1-minute habit that, if followed consistently, will help you reach your goal. The second habit that helped me shed 40 pounds is walking for weight loss every morning. Now, if you're not someone who currently has a walking routine as part of your weight loss plan, you are missing out on one of the easiest fat loss boosts around. But you might be thinking, how is 1 minute of walking effective for weight loss? If walking isn't currently part of your routine, then committing to just 1 minute each morning can be the start of a routine that extends to 10 minutes or longer. If you're skeptical, let's get all sciencey and talk about how Newton's law of motion works. This law states that an object at rest will stay at rest, but an object in motion will stay in motion. In this case, you're the object, and it's more likely that if you put your walking clothes on right when you roll out of bed and commit to at least 1 full minute of walking, that you'll actually stay in motion longer than your 1-minute commitment because you're already in motion. But even if you only just make it 1 minute today, that's still a big accomplishment and about 100 steps closer to your goal. And sometimes starting with these small habits is all it takes to change your life and finally reach your goals. If you're new to walking and trying to get your step count up, committing to 1 minute of walking is often enough to keep you moving for an extra 1,000, 2,000, maybe even 3,000 steps. And a great bonus to walking right when you roll out of bed is you have the opportunity to get morning sunlight directly into your eyes. The reason you want to spend at least 3 to 5 minutes each morning soaking in the morning rays is this habit helps stimulate the MSH hormone. And stimulating MSH can help control your appetite for the rest of the day. Plus, viewing morning sunlight sets your circadian rhythm up for better sleep, which is essential for weight loss. I first began the habit of viewing morning sunlight over a year ago. And this simple morning habit has changed my life so much that I often wonder if it would be weird to stop and let others know about the power of morning sunlight whenever I see them walking with sunglasses on during my 6 a.m. walks. But since I'm an introvert, and yes, it would be weird, I'll just spread the message on my YouTube channel and hope that word gets out. But before we get ahead of ourselves, there's a 1 minute habit I follow before heading out the door. And it's important to do this before heading out the door, partially because it's best to do this one first thing, but also because it's a habit that I do when I'm naked. Now, every woman knows deep in her heart that stepping on the scale is the enemy of fat loss, right? I mean, if that goes up, this must mean that you're eating way too much and you must immediately slash all your calories, right? Well, not right, as in totally and completely wrong. And while most experts tell you to step on the scale once per week, or even to put that thing away entirely, when those experts zigged, I zagged. I decided to weigh myself every single day, and using this habit helped me stay on track to lose 40 pounds. That's because weighing yourself only one time each week leads to data that isn't even close to accurate. If you had a meal out Saturday night and then weighed in first thing Sunday morning, your weight is going to be up. And this is mostly due to the excess salt and maybe sugars that most restaurants add to their meals. And when you weigh in only one time each week, seeing the scale go up can be devastating. Worse yet, not weighing in at all can lead to a diet where you think you're getting results because you're following all of your new diet rules. But what if you go weeks or even months sticking to a diet that in theory should work, but once you finally pull out the scale, you realize all of your hard work has only led to weight gain? While the scale is by no means the end-all be-all measurement of your results, it can be an important piece of data that you can use to your advantage with a successful weight loss plan. But the trick to this 1 minute habit is to use your weekly weight average alongside other fat loss metrics like progress photos and measurements. That way, you can use your results to confirm that your progress with what you're seeing in the mirror. This past year, I've weighed myself every morning and then used the weight average to understand my progress. And this habit only takes as long as it takes to step on my scale, since I have this fancy FitTrack scale that sends all of my data directly into Chronometer. And then each morning I take a few seconds to add this data into my tracking sheet. Averaging my weight each week helps me analyze my results at the end of the week as well as the end of each month. But the key to having this habit work for you and not make you want to throw your scale out the window is to understand that your weight will fluctuate day to day. Fluctuating weight is 100% part of the deal and something that you won't avoid no matter how dialed in your plan is. And seeing a number that's higher than the day before doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. In fact, seeing a number that's lower doesn't mean that you did anything right. That's just the way that weight loss works. But when you start looking at the scale as a data point instead of allowing the number you see to control your emotions, then you can use that number to figure out if what you're doing is working or if you need to dial in your plan even more. While we're speaking of tracking, the fourth 1 minute habit that helped me lose 40 pounds for good is I tracked all of my food in a food tracking app. This is a habit that I've been following for years, only I've never been as consistent with tracking up until this past year. And being inconsistent with a habit means that you're going to get inconsistent results. So that means that not only do I track my breakfast and lunch most days, but I track them all days, as in every single day. And in the past, when I would have just blown off tracking dinner and figured I was eating good enough, finally tracking all of my dinners helped me see that I could really fit a lot of extra calories in a dinner without even realizing it. So yes, I had to track consistently all day, every day in order to get my consistent results. And while you will have to follow this 1 minute habit several times per day, the good news is once you get the hang of it, tracking takes less than 1 minute every time you eat. If you want to take this habit to the next level, add all of your tracking info into a spreadsheet that you can analyze on a weekly and monthly basis. When I took this additional step, this helped me understand both my low days as well as my high days and how they averaged together. That way, I knew if I was overeating on the weekends, which can completely wipe out any restriction I follow during the week. One reason so many people resist tracking calories is they claim CICO doesn't work for them. Since I'm 99% confident that there's no one who's special enough to defy the law of thermodynamics among us, eating less calories than you burn is the only foolproof way to win at weight loss long term. And I'm willing to bet if you tracked all of your meals accurately, you might come to the same conclusion about why tracking calories hasn't worked for you in the past. Back in 2019, when my scale was on what seemed like a never-ending upward trajectory, I did everything I could to keep carbs low and healthy fats high. After all, chasing ketones in the past seemed to work wonders. But no matter how hard I ketoed, the scale just kept going up. So I went down a rabbit hole to figure out why this high-fat diet that worked so well in the past was only making me fatter. None of the typical keto fix-alls worked. I got rid of all sweeteners, even the safe ones. Nothing. I quit dairy entirely. Nada. I cut out avocados, quit all keto-friendly products. I even stayed away from the all-evil spinach for a while. Zip, zero, zilch. I just kept gaining. Even though some of the research I came across told me that I just had to grin and bear this perimenopausal weight gain, I wouldn't take no for an answer. And as I continued digging, I finally came across some real answers that really worked. And one of those answers formed my 5th 1-minute habit that helped me lose 40 pounds this year. And that's eating protein with every meal. Now, if you're saying, well, duh, all of your other videos have already talked endlessly about the importance of protein, so how does this fit into a 1-minute habit anyway? Since most meals you want to eat are centered either around carbs or fat, I still ate plenty of those meals while losing weight, but I always made sure to start every meal with a few ounces of protein, or what I like to call a protein appetizer. This might look like grabbing a few pieces of rolled up lunch meat before digging into my sandwich at lunch, or maybe heating up a few ounces of chicken to add extra protein to my eggs at breakfast. And the beauty of adding more protein as an appetizer before your meals is you can finally quit fad diets that make you eliminate all of your favorite foods. A lot of times, just adding more nutrient-dense foods like more protein is the only thing you need to do to eat less of the junk food that's keeping you stuck. This swap happens for a lot of women naturally because eating more protein provides the nutrients that your body needs to thrive. And when it gets enough of these nutrients, it'll stop sending out hunger signals and cravings for foods that aren't ideal. Of course, to make sure you're successful with this 1-minute habit, you have to be prepared and keep plenty of high-quality protein on hand. Some of my favorite options for protein appetizer are a few slices of rolled up deli meat, an ounce of cheese, or even a few ounces of chicken straight from the fridge. You will be surprised at how much less you want to eat throughout the day when you prioritize protein with every single meal and snack, especially when you eat protein at the start of your meal. Start adding these 1-minute habits into your routine and come back and let me know if there's life-changing for you as they have been for me. And if you want to learn how to set up your diet in a way that you won't regain everything you lose, be sure to watch this video next. And of course, if all of this is just a little confusing and you want a shortcut to the finish line, check the pinned comment for the link to set up a meeting to see if one-on-one coaching sounds like the right program for you.